There's honey in the rock, water in the snow, manna on the ground, no matter where I go. I don't need to worry now that I know everything I need you've got. There's honey in the rock, honey in the rock. Hi everyone, welcome to this piano tutorial. My name's Danny and today I'm going to teach you how to play Honey in the Rock by Brooke Ligertwood. So let's get right into it. But first off, what I'm going to show you is how to play the scale, the D major scale, which is the key that the song is in. And then I'm going to teach you how to play all the chords that are in the song, and I'm going to go through the verse and the chorus with you together. So let's go over the scale and the key first. This song is in the key of D. And the key of D major has two sharps. And those two sharps are F sharp and C sharp. So let's go through the D major scale with the interval numbers and the notes first off. So we have D, the 1, E, the 2, F sharp, the 3, G, the 4, A, 5, B is 6, C sharp is 7, and then we're back to 1, which is D. So, with that being said, let's play through the scale together. I would invite you to play the scale along with me. We'll just do one octave hands together. Here we go. There's our scale. And remember, it's really important to play through the scale of the key that you're in for whatever worship song that you're practicing, starting to learn. It's even good if you've already got the song down, because when you have the scale under your fingers, that way you know exactly where you can play and where you can't play, which is super important, because that way you're just going to make less mistakes. You can flow better if you really have the scale down under your fingers well. So please be sure to practice the scale. All right, now that's that. And with the scale being out of the way, let's look at all the chords for this song. And I'll just go and show you all the chords for the song now, and then I'll kind of play them in the song afterward and show you some rhythmic things as well. All right, now the first chord that we're going to look at is the 1 chord, which is D. And let's just go through how to play that one. So with the left hand, I'm going to be down here. This is where I like to play this chord usually with my left hand. So here is middle C. So I'm going to be down here with my left hand. And the notes that I'm going to play for the D chord are this: D, A, D, 3 notes. And then for the right hand, my starting point is going to be this: D, and then F sharp, A. So those 3 notes. So altogether, it sounds like this. Now remember, that's just the starting point. There's so many things that you can do, you can go to after this, but that's what we start on. All right, and then the next chord is going to be a D sus chord, which means D suspended, which means we put the 4th on this chord instead of the 3rd. All right, so we're going to play the same thing for the left hand. Those notes. And then for the right hand, we're just going to switch it up. We're going to make a slight move here. So with the right hand, we're going to play D, G, and A. And what you can also do for this chord is take the A off of the right hand, so you're only playing these 2 notes, D and G. So altogether, it sounds like this. You can hear it suspended because it's kind of unresolved. It wants to go back to here. Okay, so that's our D sus chord. It's either this or this. All right, and then let's look at the next chord in the song, which is B minor. So we're taking the left hand going from here up to here. So what we'll play for the left hand is this: B, F sharp, A. That's what I suggest playing for this chord. And then for the right hand, we're going to be playing these notes: D, F sharp, A. So it's going to be like a D major chord for the right hand, basically. But all together, it sounds like this. And for both the D major chord and this B minor, we can add this note, the E, which is the 2. And that also sounds really nice over both the D major chord and over the B minor. All right, so there's those two. Now let's go down to A, which is the next chord. For that one, with the left hand, we're just going to make a slight shift down here, like this. And we are going to play A, E, A. So those 3 notes. And then for the right hand, we're going to move down just a little bit. So we're going to play C sharp, E, A. So altogether, that sounds like this. And for this chord, you can, on the right hand, you can shift back and forth between these two, the C sharp to the D to the C sharp. But you should generally always start with the C sharp with your thumb for the right hand. All right, now the next chord is G. So for the left hand, we're going to move down just a little bit, and we're going to play G, D, G. And then for the right hand, we're going to play D, G, A. So that's how that sounds all together. And for the right hand, you can also play the F sharp instead of the G, and that sounds really nice. So you can play or. All right, and that's almost all the chords we play, but we have a couple more chords, and these are the least used ones in the song. All right, and on the bridge, we have an E minor chord, which is the 2 chord in the key of D, and that's how we're gonna play this. So we're on the G right now. We're gonna move down to here, and we're gonna play E, B, E, and then for the right hand, we're going to play D, E, G. So altogether, that sounds like this. Okay, and then we have one more chord that is only played once in the entire song, and that is a C natural. And you may or may not have noticed that this chord is not in the key for this song because the C needs to be sharp. Remember, we have the 2 sharps. But they're doing something kind of cool here. They're changing things up a little bit. So it goes to a C natural chord. And so the way that I like to play the C chord is this. I'm going to put my pinky finger, here's middle C again. So I'm going to put my pinky finger, left hand on this C, and then G. So 2 notes there with the left hand. And then for the right hand, what I'm going to do is play C, D, E, G. So I'm going to play those 4 notes. So it looks like that. But don't curl your ring finger in like that. Just keep it nice and relaxed. It's going to sound like this. All together. All right, and there you have it. Those are all the chords for this song. So let's just take a look at the chorus right now, and let's see how it sounds all together. And I'm just gonna kind of play through the chords and call them out for you as I play them. All right, so here we go. There's honey in the rock, D, and then D suspended, D, back to D suspended, B minor, and then A, G, and then back to D. All right, and then the other thing I want to look at is the bridge. I will just play through those chords for you real quick. The bridge has two different parts. It's kind of a complicated bridge because there's two different ways that they play through the bridge. I'm gonna play it through you. I'm gonna play it for you, like the last couple times that they do it because they're adding more chords in. So let's look at that. So this is when we go to the E minor and then the C coming back into the chorus. So I'm starting from the line, I keep praying. I keep praying, that's D, and then D suspended, D, D suspended, B minor, A, G, E minor, and then B minor, A, that's going to be, of course, the D chord when it goes back to the chorus. All right, so that's how that looks. Again, the C natural chord is only one time through that we play that. So that's going to be like a powerful chord. So normally what I like to do for that is just play all the notes all together and hit it however many times before you go back into that chorus, which is like more of a down chorus. It's a little bit quieter. So when you play that C chord, what I think you're going to want to do, what I like to do, is play all those notes together. Honey in the rock. And then they sing the chorus. All right, so that's that. That's all the chords in the song. That is basically how almost all the chord progressions go. So I think you can probably figure out the rest. You have all those chord voicings that I've given you. So now let's just take a quick look at the rhythm. For the rhythm, what you're probably gonna want to do, what I would prefer doing myself, is when you hit a chord, let's say the D chord, for example, what I like to do is hit all the notes together. And after I hit all the notes together, then I do a little bit of work with the right hand, whether that's just play the chord a couple times or like a little inflection like this. Or do something like more fancy. Something kind of like that. And then after you do a little bit of right hand work, then what you're going to want to do, because the left hand is maybe just resting during that time. So what you're going to want to do with the left hand is arpeggiate the chord, which means play all the notes separately. So first we played the notes all together with the left hand, but then after you do that right hand work, so with the left hand's going to look kind of like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Something like that. You can change up when you hit the notes separately, but it is important to do that because that way you have some rhythmic movement going. So all together, that's going to look and sound like this. All right, now I got pretty fancy there around the end, but that's basically how that goes. And I'm going to teach you one more little trick for this song, and this will help you spice it up just a bit. So whenever you see that there is a D sus chord, the D suspended, where we move to this G, then that's kind of where, if you want to get a little more fancy and sort of have a little more fun on the song, that's a great opportunity to do that. So I like to keep the right hand generally pretty still. Like instead of jumping to all the chords individually, I like to just keep it mostly in the same spot, at least for starters. And then if I want to move it around, if I want to do some fancy stuff, then I can go all over the place. But for this D suspended chord, you can start with doing it just like I showed you. But then for this one, you can play around on the G chord, a G major chord, and that is what gives it that suspended feel. So if you want to make it sound a little more gospel, give it a little bit more of that feel, then you can play the D chord and then D suspended and then G. So I'm just basically playing a G major chord. And then back to D. Here's an inversion of the G chord. That's a little bit more advanced. If you're watching this and you're an intermediate or advanced player, that's something you can do, is play a G6 chord. And there's one more thing that I'll show you. I'll show you a cool little riff if you really want to take it to the next level here, if you're an intermediate or advanced player. So still, I'm still talking about the D sus chord. If you want to give it like this classic kind of gospel riff, what you can do is start on A, the 5, and then do a chromatic little slide. So 5, sharp 5, 6, to the 1 up here. Nice and quick like that. And then after you do that, you could just do that if you want. You could go. So you can just do that, or you can add a little more after you play that. Then come down to the flat 3. So not the F sharp, but the F natural, and do a quick grace note on that, down to the 2, which is E, and then 1. So that's F, E, D. So altogether that looks and sounds like this. D, D suspended, and you have to play these accidental notes, the notes which are not in the key, you have to play those quickly or else it doesn't sound quite right. Kind of like that. All right, so that's that. There's a little bonus tip for maybe if there's any intermediate or advanced pianists watching this. All right, my friends, and there you go. Those are all the chords and the scale for how to play Honey in the Rock. I really hope you enjoyed this tutorial, that it will greatly bless you in your playing. So I would also warmly welcome you to check out the link that's in the description for this video if you want to take your worship piano playing to a whole nother level, whether you're a beginner, intermediate, or advanced player. I've got a book, it's called Basic to Amazing Worship Piano, and that's exactly what it will give you. It'll help you to take a step up in your worship piano playing, no matter where you're at. I think there's something in it for everyone, and I've really poured out so much into this book. What I talk about in it is how to play the right hand chords, how to play the left hand chords, how to put them together in a way that sounds super nice, and how to improv with a fail-proof system that I'll bet you've never heard of. So in this book, it really will just take you to probably where you want to go in your worship piano playing. So again, I'd invite you to check that out, and I hope that if you check that out, if you buy the book, then it will just bless you greatly. So again, thank you so much for watching. Have an amazing time playing this song and worshiping God, and much love and blessings.